It's time for us to take another trip through the Oswego Speedway history book. And tonight we'll take a look at the first part of a successful double generation of campaigners and car owners at Oswego Speedway, the Gioia family patriarch, Steve Gioia Sr. As a matter of fact, it was Steve Sr. who led the way for the success of his son Steve Jr. at Oswego Speedway. Steve Gioia Sr. was a meticulous car builder who brought one of the first Watson chassis Indy cars into competition at the Oswego Speedway in the 1960s. It's definitely a familiar sight, as this car used to be a lay-down roadster that ran the brickyard. Over the years, Steve Sr. put a lot of different drivers aboard the number 9 machines: Bobby Pierce, Wayne Landon, Joe Haluka, John Clapham, to name just a few. But eventually, Steve Sr. teamed up with son Steve Jr. That partnership really clicked in the 1970s at the Steel Palace. Steve Sr. was a meticulous car preparer and never hesitated to have his son fire up the car down the residential street by the house to get it warmed up. In particular, Steve Sr. was an expert at racing engines, specifically fuel injectors. Super modifieds have run fuel injection for years. Fuel injection can be a very tempestuous thing to deal with. In the Oswego Speedway pits, it was well known that if your race car was having an engine problem, or more specifically, a problem with the injectors, there was one guy in the pit area you would stop and see: the cool, calm, and collected Steve Sr. Here seen catching a few rays while watching a racing program. Steve Gioia Jr. captured his first victory with Dad's race car on the 25th anniversary of the Oswego Speedway. Definitely a very special occasion for the Gioia family. Over the years, Steve Sr. and Steve Jr. had a formidable partnership. They were tough to beat. At one time, that partnership was extended when Steve Jr.'s brother, Don Gioia, became part of a two-car operation that Steve Sr. headed. Steve had a knack for knowing the ins and outs of a super modified, sometimes just by sight or even by sound, which is probably why he was asked so much for help in the pit area. There wasn't too many drivers or car owners at the Oswego Speedway that didn't at one time or another consult with the Gioia squad when they were looking to make their cars hook up at the Steel Palace. Not only that, Steve Sr. prided himself on not only having a good-looking race car, but a good-looking race crew as well. Several seasons running, they captured the Best Appearing Car and Crew Award for the Oswego Speedway. In the mid and late 1970s, Steve Gioia Jr. really came into his own as a super modified driver and became one of the most popular and most well-respected competitors at the Speedway, thanks in part to his father's excellent guidance and race car preparation. In fact, Steve's expertise extended beyond traditional super modifieds. Here, Steve Sr. helps out Freddie Graves, who now works for Terry Labonte, with a Bill Height-designed four-wheel drive rear-engine super modified that once turned a wheel at the Steel Palace. The Gioia racing team, always a family affair, always popular with the fans, had one of their crowning moments back in 1976 when Steve Jr. found victory lane in the Budweiser International Classic. A fitting end to what had been a fantastic season for Team Gioia. Unfortunately, Steve Sr. passed away 18 months ago. Steve Jr. is still involved in racing, though. He's the official Hoosier tire supplier and now retired as a driver at the Oswego Speedway. But there is certainly no doubt the Gioia family name has made its mark at Oswego.